remains a 40-pound vest. I can only imagine if it was 100 pounds, but it makes me want to do some movements and training. This is remains a 40-pound vest. I can only imagine if it was 100 pounds, but it makes me want to do some movements and training.
Gennady fought his last fight. Is he the same guy he was 2 years ago? And can he? So not to be long with the question, but it's like, you know, Marquez and Pacquiao. Marquez seemed like he would get older, and Pacquiao would get better, and then you match them together, and you got the same fight. You got is it that kind of situation where even though Gennady looks older, he'll still be held for Canelo, or has he gotten older and Canelo would beat him decisively?
To tell you the truth, I didn't see the fights. I haven't seen any of his fights since then. But I said in an interview before his first fight, after we parted ways, that Gennady's strength is his strength. When he's able to walk somebody down, when he's able to dictate pace, dictate strength, dictate the pace of a fight, Gennady's great. Tries to be a boxer as he tried to do in the second Canelo fight for me. He's not the same guy. We're not looking at that dominant fighter. He still has that. He just has to do it more. I think that I think in my mind, in our second Canelo fight, he tried to prove to everybody that he could box. He can box, but that's just not him. His strength is his strength, and he still has a lot left. Hopefully he'll get back to that. Hopefully he'll get back to destroying people, and purposely, not purposely, but with the intent of creating havoc inside the ring instead of trying to be that safety first boxer. But no, I think that third Canelo fight would be great if he goes after Canelo and he fights him.
Those are the words of Abel Sanchez, and he states that Gennady Golovkin is not the same guy when he got with his new trainer. You know, however, he hasn't seen, 2 out of 3 of the fights that he's had? How many fights have Golovkin had since he's parted ways? Steve Rose, Deverenchenko, and his last fight. He said his strength is his strength. I mean, of course, Abel Sanchez knows his fighter. Okay, he knows Gennady Golovkin in and out, but when Gennady Golovkin, according to him, says he tried to box, that's just not him. You know, he said his strength is his strength. He said if he's not walking people down, he's not really successful. You know, and there's some truth to that. I looked at, if you take the Deverenchenko fight, for example, when he fought Sergey was able to back him up, and he was not comfortable. He wasn't. And in fact, he was less dominant in those fights. The only time he fight is when he was pressing forward. Gennady Golovkin is not a fighter that likes to go backwards. If you got anything from Deverenchenko, Golovkin does not like to go back. Hell, if you look at it like this, look at the Canelo rematch. Canelo was able to come forward, and a lot of times he was making Golovkin go backwards. And when you do that with a fighter that's accustomed to all those things that Abel Sanchez lined out, it's awkward for him. Okay, so with Abel saying he shouldn't be a boxer, like the one that Jonathan Banks is trying to make him, he's not really that good. You know, he said he still has it, but he's not that same type of dominant person, and he's not able to exploit his gifts and his attributes when he's trying to box. You know, and overall, I think Abel Sanchez is right. I think Gennady Golovkin is a guy that he has to come forward. He has to seek and destroy you, okay? And trying to box you is one thing. However, you could say, okay, because it's partial. I partially agree with him, with Abel. Because you could say in the David Lemieux fight, he was a boxer. He wasn't that come forward fighter like he was. You know, he boxed Lemieux's head off because he knows Lemieux had the firepower to hurt him, I believe. You know, and I think with Canelo, he tried to box Canelo because Canelo gave him no choice. You know, because he was just kind of backwards pedaling and punching Canelo. You know, he was trying to take it to Canelo, but Canelo was constantly counterpunching him with body shots, and those body shots can hurt. Okay, ask Beefy Smith about that. Ask Callum Smith about that. Ask anybody, Lara even. You know, the body punches that Canelo throws hurt you. Yes, I did say the Erislandy Lara fight. So, you know, those are the type of things that Golovkin is not good at, going backwards and trying to box. You know, but here's the counter. You could say that Abel's saying that because he's with a different trainer. Because he doesn't believe that Golovkin can train and learn in other ways. He's won his last 3 fights, right? But I don't think this was necessarily a hating video on on Sanchez's behalf, because he did say all of his attributes and what he can do. You know what I mean? I think he approached it. I think this was more of a Manny Robles and Andy Ruiz, you know, type of explanation, when Manny was explaining the attributes of Andy Ruiz, meaning, you know, versus Abel's knowing Golovkin, knowing what he can do. And I think maybe he's just not accustomed to Golovkin fighting like that, you know, because Golovkin is not that boxer, that guy that moves his head like that. He's that kind of guy that comes forward with a European style, with peppering you with that jab, ready to unload the chopping right hand, angled left hooks, and brutal body work. You know, that's what he's accustomed to. So when you do see that, though, and you see that fighter learning another style or attempting to use another style, I think Abel Sanchez saw that and was like, nah, I don't like that. I don't really like that. You know, so I do think that Abel Sanchez sees something that he doesn't like within the training of Jonathan Banks. Now, remember, though, keep in mind, people, that Abel Sanchez and Gennady Golovkin parted ways, and it wasn't a good part. You know, again, it was similar to Manny and Ruiz, but Ruiz and Manny, they split up because of a loss, not because of money, not because of anything like that per se. You know, I don't think, right? Because that could have been the case also. You know what I mean? There's also other reasons to, you know, you build other reasons or excuses, however you look at it, for leaving somebody or separating with someone. But as far as I know, with Abel Sanchez and Golovkin, they left on the behalf because of money. So as far as money was involved, then, you know, the structure, people change when more money is introduced. That's a fact, right? So but I didn't hear Abel Sanchez talk about anything regarding money, but he was talking about the dynamics of the fight itself, and that's Abel's take on it. You guys tell me what you think of Abel Sanchez's counterpunch on Gennady Golovkin. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.